watching today and for, most of all, listening. Thank you to those subscribers I have. The channel is small, but hopefully we can grow. Today is all about whispers, and I hope this video helps you with your sleep. So, today we're going to talk about and look through my magazine, my North Korean magazine, propaganda magazine. So maybe I can explain to you where I got this magazine. I bought this magazine in Shanghai. I was on a trip there, and they have a museum and a shop called the Propaganda and Poster Museum. So if you're ever in Shanghai, have a look at that shop. It's very unique. Lots of posters and propaganda from all across the world: Russia, China, North Korea, and others. It's a very interesting visit. I encourage you to have a look if you go to Shanghai. Okay. The first thing I should mention about this magazine is the date. The date on here is 1976. So in 1976, Kim Il-sung was still in power in North Korea. Maybe something that you will notice throughout this magazine is how the pictures and the portrayal of the North Korean people is always very gleeful, very joyful. They always look like they're having a wonderful time. And of course that is why, and when we look through this, you will notice how these smiles and these people and these pictures is all propaganda, which doesn't depict the actual real life of North Koreans. So first we'll look across the first page. So here we can see the collection of writings or speeches of Kim Il-sung. You may notice in this magazine how usually there is always someone writing something down whenever not only Kim Il-sung but Kim Jong-il now someone is always writing their words down, and everything they say is held in very high esteem. So these books here are a collection of the words of Kim Il-sung, and we have a picture here of Kim Il-sung. Now, Kim Il-sung, he came into power through, I guess, a few different steps. He was part of the anti-Japanese resistance in the 1930s to 1940s. He was a guerrilla fighter against Japanese colonial rule. And here he gained recognition as a nationalist leader during Japan's occupation. And obviously in 1940 obviously divided from North and South. North backed by the Soviets, the South backed by the Americans. Now the Soviets promoted Kim as a loyal communist leader in the northern zone. So obviously they recognized his military prowess and experience, and so he was made leader of the North. And then of course 1948, under the guidance of the Soviets, they established the DPRK, and Kim Il-sung became the head of the Workers' Party of Korea, the WPK, and the first premier of the DPRK, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. So it was around 1948 to 1950s where he consolidated his power and eliminated his rivals within the WPK and solidified control, and of course centralized power around himself. And then obviously since then the Korean War 1950 to 1953, Kim launched an invasion into the south to unify the peninsula under communist rule, and that led to the Korean War. Although the war is, ended in a stalemate, it obviously helped Kim strengthen his position domestically as a leader of the defending nation. So his rise to power did come largely due to a Soviet support and also his role in anti-Japanese resistance. So he was in power from 1948 until his death in 1994, so 46 years in power. And of course, he is declared an eternal president of North Korea, a symbolic title, and obviously this cements his enduring role in the state's identity. So if you go to North Korea, you obviously can see his statue, his face everywhere in North Korea. So this page here, Kim Il-sung obviously says here, gives on-the-spot guidance at cooperative farms and industrial establishments in South Pyongan province. So again we can see when he's speaking how many people are taking notes. Many people jot down those words, and as we can see in the first page, those words can be made into books where the people can read. And again, a lot of pictures of a very robust harvest. Again, propaganda is widely known that North Korea regularly experiences famine and death from famine and lack of food. Here's some pictures here, again with other communist leaders. This is Ramon Castro, elder brother of Fidel Castro, obviously from Cuba. And then also this is when Kim Il-sung receives a delegation of the Women's Union from Cambodia as well. A lot of what we read in here, again, propaganda, images show mechanization of pit operations, so mining. If any of you have ever been to Korea, been to Seoul, you have the opportunity to see some of the tunnels that the North dug into the South secretly. There is actually 4 tunnels that they dug underground trying to get into the South. And so there's several tunnels that have been discovered. And obviously North Korea deny that any of these tunnels were dug by them. I think there was 4 discovered since the 1970s. And if you go to the south, you can actually go into one of the tunnels, and you are almost over the line, the border into North Korea, and you can see through a little window into North Korea. So again, very interesting how in this here they show a lot of mining equipment. Again, everyone looking very happy, people planning to make improvements in the mining industry. Again, we can only assume that majority of this is propaganda. Various types of tractors, again, new tractors. I very much doubt that North Korea would use, or maybe they would use, but would they publish using second-hand machinery or second-hand tractors? I assume not. The facade needs to be perfect at all times. And again, to the propaganda of a lot of food being produced. Again, we know about the famine in North Korea. We can see again more pictures of plenty. Everyone looking happy, clean, everything is neat and tidy, everything is organized. A show of North Korean technical innovation. Lots of pictures of engineers, technicians working on modern machinery. At the time, it would have been modern. I'm afraid some of the pages in my magazine are falling out. The staples are very old and not keeping the magazine together, so I have to always be very careful every time I get this magazine out. Again, showing the modern west port of Chongjin, Chongjin, again under Kim Il-sung, showing the great steps to a modern and innovative North Korea. This is a very classic picture of North Korean propaganda. You'll see a lot of this type of propaganda if you search online or you visit these propaganda museums or shops. Very similar to this, a beautiful painting, everyone looking very happy, and again Kim Il-sung And you will see this again with other leaders in North Korea. Spending time with the workers. So again, showing that they value the working people of the country. Here, showing plastic daily necessities made for people in North Korea. We can see some bowls, buckets, containers. Again, it looks like a land of plenty. And of course, this is the kind of image that they want to portray. That there is no famine, there is no shortage, there is only plenty, and there is only affluence. Again, another picture portraying the fishing grounds. Plenty of fish. You can see octopus. It looks like some kelp seaweed here. But again, always showing a plentiful harvest. Let you see that a little bit better. Now we can see some ladies working here in the factory. Again, everything neat, tidy, organised, and piles of clothing, and of course children looking very happy, very fulfilled and joyful. Clothing is something interesting, as we can see here. The variety of clothing that the children are wearing. In North Korea, they have government endorsed clothing and obviously military clothing, and of course uniforms. Everyone, if you're a school child, will wear the same uniform. If you're a worker, you will wear the same uniform. And also, for example, doctors will also all wear the same uniform. So there is restrictions when it comes to clothing in North Korea. For example, blue jeans are banned and illegal, as they consider a symbol of the West, and particularly the USA influence, of course, which is ideologically opposed to North Korean values. And you will also notice that there is never any logos or any foreign brands on clothing either, and you will never see people wearing excessive fashion or individualism, such as flashy colours, short skirts, extravagant styles. These are all inappropriate, so everything must be conservative, and of course for women as well, dressing conservatively. And of course, short hemlines and tight clothing is discouraged. You will of course never see hair dyed bright colours, different colours as well, and absolutely no religious symbols, crosses, of course religious attire or symbols of any foreign ideology is all banned. We can see here advertisement of North Korean instrument. I is that the bass of the instrument resembles the voice of a male singer and makes orchestral tunes more lingering. And again, it says this is a very modern instrument. They have quite similar instruments to this string instruments in China as well. More pictures of the industrialism and how modern North Korea is. The revolutionary spirit of self-reliance. This is a key ideological concept in North Korea, deeply rooted in the country's philosophy of Juche. I don't know how actually to pronounce it. Juche. Again, this introduced by Kim Il-sung emphasizes, of course, independence, resilience, and reliance on internal resources. They do not want to rely on external aid or influence. So, of course, this is a core value for the nation as a whole. And this, I would imagine, came from Kim Il-sung's guerrilla struggles against the Japanese in the 1930s, where of course self-reliance was a necessity for survival, and then of course became part of the Juche or Juche ideology in the 1950s, and this is obviously essential to North Korea's national narrative. Again, more propaganda strongly condemned the Pak Chung-hai puppet clique for their cool fascist suppression of Democrats and patriotic people in South Korea. We can see some pictures here of some journalists. And then finally, at the very back, South Korea, a land of darkness. And obviously in North Korea, showing their enemies in a unfavourable light, such as the USA and also South Korea. Again, pictures of broken buildings, people working hard, again looking miserable, looking almost, I suppose, looking like slave labour. Here we're looking like people have died, but it says that the corruption and depravity prevail over South Korea under the military fascist rule of the US imperialists. So again, the positive propaganda for their country and the negative propaganda for their enemies, or their class as enemies. And the back of the magazine is a famous mountain in North Korea, again showing beautiful landscape, and look at the people, how they're dressed, traditional Korean clothing, and the men wearing suits, shirts and ties as if this is the norm in their country. So guys, that is my magazine on North Korea. I collect a lot of propaganda from many messages. If you would like to see more, please leave a comment and I will be happy to make a video on other kinds of propaganda. But anyway, thank you for joining me today,